I was doing custom Funkos.
Yeah.
There was a certain peak where my Funkos were averaging between $2,000 and $4,000 for a custom Funko Pop, which is
What?
nuts, right?
That's
Like I would
incredible.
go to the store, pay like $20 for this Funko Pop, put
Wow.
my art, my spin on it, make a custom display box. They were going for that kind of money.
That's
And
amazing.
yeah, it was surreal.
Hey, Ray, order some Funko Pops. We are all on our paint journey. But where are we now? And where do we go next? This is how. Passion, action, intent, new, teach. This is the paint method. Welcome back.
Yeah, man.
Welcome
Feels
back.
like forever, huh?
I know, it's been a whole 2 days. I was just telling you that I just got back from this week-long trip with my son, and we were back home, and my fiance Chadi, she was in the garage like installing these mirrors. Like she had like the power tools and putting stuff up. And I'm in the kitchen cooking. She came in. I didn't know this. She came in the kitchen, was recording me, and was like, and I just looked at her. I was like, "Daddy's home." And she's like, "Oh my god, this is
hilarious.
This is hilarious." Yeah, she's the one out there doing all the hard work. But no, man, it's good to be back. Glad you're back, man. You brought some friends with you. We gotta talk about those.
Yeah, man. Yeah, special little friends right here.
Yeah, we'll talk about those in a little bit. So what's happened? You know, what's going on with you? What's new with the last day or so,
Man.
projects wise?
I mean, yesterday it's crazy. Like, so I had like a extra garage in my in the community that I live in.
Yeah.
I had an extra garage that I was using as my art studio. And
Yeah.
I think I told you about this. And then I got I got a notice saying you can't use it to paint in there. You have to park your car inside there. So yesterday was like really focused on hyper focused. Me and Jersky were pretty much just moving everything out, getting arranged, like setting stuff up in my garage so I could still paint while I figure it all out. So that's what like a lot of the day was focused on yesterday. But it was actually pretty good because it forces you to clean stuff that you probably wouldn't have done if you didn't do it, you know? So,
but that's like every artist has gone through that. Like even when we were building this studio, I didn't have a studio for a year. So I was in my garage practicing, performing, like trying to do all this stuff.
Paint everywhere,
moving the cars in and out. And it was just like, it was chaos like, in the garage.
Is that why Chadi took over the garage now? That's her gym now.
That is why she is allowed to have the garage as much as she wants. Because I have plenty of space here. So, but no, yeah. But you know, think about it, most artists, that's the situation that they're in. They're, you know, starting out with a garage or a room in the house.
And I started in a shed, bro.
Oh, really? What was that like?
Well, when stuff was starting to like really speed up for me, I was renting a back house at my aunt's house. She had made the garage into like a studio, so I was in there, and then she had like a little shed out in the back. So I told her like, "Can I use the shed to work?" Yeah, sure. So it was literally a little shed with no AC. Just super hot in there like I had to put a little like AC unit in the window, and that was it, bro. It was literally probably like 7x7 max.
Wow.
And I had stuff in there, but I mean, you work what you got, right? But as an artist, as you continue to grow, you know, this is like you start to run out of room, bro. You got to just keep expanding your space. And now it's crazy because at my place, I have an office in my house. Where I do a lot of like my editing and stuff. Then I have the garage, but then I had to get another garage, and I had to get another storage just to put stuff that I'm not using. So it's like I'm already outgrowing this situation. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, being an artist, I feel like sometimes it's like it just becomes a storage problem. Like you're literally just moving stuff around because you're creating things, you know, physical objects. I always envy like the digital artists, you know, that are working on an iPad. I'm like, you are so freaking lucky. You don't have to store all this stuff everywhere. Because I have gotten rid of a lot of things, but you realize that you're just accumulating art and objects and things over the years. So, and then you need space to work on top of all that. So,
and they're big canvases, bro. They're huge.
Yeah, and then
we're not working with little things like this,
dude.
Like the bigger you get, you already know you work on huge pieces.
Yeah, my first studio, like official one was a 1-car garage. So the place that I was living, it was actually my first home, because I went from my 1-bedroom apartment, which is where I started painting, and then I was in my dad's garage, which I was starting to teach myself how to do performance painting. And then things happened fast. Like that's how fast things happen. Started performing in my dad's garage, or like learning, and then I bought my first home within that first year. So that had a 1-car garage though, and it was hot. It was cold. It was small and comfortable doing these large paintings, but you make it work. And I remember I used to take all like the raw canvas outside and roll it out on the ground and paint it black. And my neighbors would be driving by like, "What are you doing? Who's gonna get this paint off the ground?" I was like, "Oh, I'll clean it later." We definitely got letters from like the HOA about that. You know, the HOA Karens clean up the
Of
paint.
course.
I don't know if I got it up or not. So whoever's there now, they'll have to tell me if it's there. It's in West Sacramento. So, but no, that's But all artists have struggles at different points, at different levels. This weekend, while we're filming this, we're launching a new masterclass. It's a free masterclass to help artists to really, if they're not already going full time, to help them go full time, help them focus on the niche of their life experiences and how to translate that into art, and then eventually how to show that in the place where they gather for those life experiences. So, but part of that too is addressing some struggles that we've all gone through. We were just talking about when finding an art studio space and figuring that out. You're in it right now. I've done it even the past year. And so I'm curious, what is at least one thing that you could recall that you, besides the studio, that you needed to overcome on your art journey, that you were struggling with at first, but you eventually did overcome and you figured out?
I mean, I wouldn't say I did. I mean, I'm working on it, but
Yeah.
I'm still dealing with it today, after like 16 years of doing this, like,
Yeah.
like professionally, I guess you'd say. And it's gotten a little crazier because you're able to focus on just painting canvases, fine art type stuff, painting. I started with shoes, right? So I never got away from that. I still do it.
Yeah.
But now it's not just shoes, it's canvas, it's custom trading cards, it's custom designer bags, or whatever it is that I'm going to be touching, right? So there's a numerous amount of things, and for me it's organization, bro, and just like keeping everything like in order, and like scheduling, like all that stuff, bro. It's just it's tough for me. Like I've never been good with that unless I have to have it on like a whiteboard or something like that. Like,
But is that what you use now? Does the whiteboard work?
I use it now and it's helped.
Yeah.
But there's still times where I wake up and as an artist, something comes to your head and you're like, man, I gotta do this, and then it kind of like leads me off course a little bit, and I have to get back on track. So
Yeah. I think I've shared it with you, but we use a project management system called Asana. And I didn't start using it until 2020. A friend of mine, maybe not even until 2021, very close friend of mine who's highly organized, works at like high level education kind of corporate stuff. He put me onto it. Shout out to Steven. It has completely changed my business. Like, we're able to manage now. I mean, I think we at least have 100 different plus projects on the books.
Whoa.
That we're managing all at once. And it allows me to kind of delegate to different team members or even contractors that we have to work on those projects, and also I can track it as well. So I always recommend artists like find a project management system that works for you, that you can afford, that's like, it visually makes sense to you, and then just go watch every YouTube tutorial on it and watch how contractors use it. Watch how event managers use it. Don't just watch how artists use it, and then just kind of take the accumulation of all that information and see how can it work for me as an artist, because it changed the game. For example, and I'll give you an example. We used to just do live shows. So I would get emails from my agent, like, we got this show coming up. and my tour manager, they would all just email about these particular events. Well, 2021 came around, and now we're not just doing live events. We're not doing live events at all. We're doing content. We're doing products. We're doing multiple products. And so there's so many more like silos in our business that we have to like keep our eyes on. And it's just helped tremendously, man. I think there's one called Trello. Can't remember. If you're watching this on YouTube or if you're listening to this, send us a comment and let us know if you know of a project management system. But I still do the whiteboard too.
Let's see.
Yeah, it's across the room. We got the rolling whiteboard in the studio. I put all my to-do lists for the day. I need to see those. But yeah, project management is definitely one that I didn't realize I had to do that too until we were in it. I was like, I gotta manage this.
Fairly easy too.
I mean, now it is. Now I can say it is, but there was a learning curve because it's more so this. It's not the program; it's the habits. Like the habits of saying, "I have an idea."
Like, let me put this in here right away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because what do? We get an idea, we just go make it, and then when we need someone to scan it or make prints of it, we don't have any way to show them besides texting, which is terrible. You can't keep track of things or recall things or search terms in there. Email is also terrible because you'll have several different email chains.
Yep.
In Asana, we create a block for a project. Imagine a big block for it. And then within that, we have small blocks about different things that have to do with that project. And then I'm only talking to my team about that one particular item within there. So if I need to find the communication about this project, I go in there rather than searching through the thousands of texts in my phone, you know.
So you could invite people into that conversation and you guys could carry it all in that specific block that you're saying.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, Slack is another one. A lot of companies use that. You just have to categorize what you're talking about where. So you have a Slack channel, say with you and Jers, about just the vinyl toys. All communication about vinyl toys in there.
Wow.
Another one about content. You're just talking about content there. And so on, you know. But it's the habit of like doing that. That's the hard part. You know.
Or just catching a rhythm of doing it. Like you could do it for a week, but how long? Like you gotta stay consistent with it, right? So
yeah,
I think that's probably the hardest part. But once you get the ball rolling, I'm sure it's
I think one of the things that I always struggle with, and I don't know how you do this, but when we started making prints and selling them online, like just trying to figure out how to keep up with shipping, packing, shipping, labels, like that was such a huge learning curve for me. And most artists have this idea like, look, I want to put my art out to the world. I want to make prints and products, but then you have to like figure out shipping. And that was a huge learning curve. But you know, like I said, we figured that out as well by using that project manager system.
Well, it's still like a learning curve for me now because although I've been an artist for so long and I've been painting and drawing since I was little, you know, the form that really hit for me and allowed me to build my brand where it's at is the shoes, right? So usually when you ship out a pair of shoes, it's like they're usually about the same box size that you put them in to ship out, right? But now that I'm doing canvas art, prints, all these other different types of medias of art, it's like a whole different shipping like world, bro.
Yeah.
Like a print, how are you going to send it without it getting damaged? Especially if somebody's paying this much money. A canvas, where are you going to find the box big enough to put this in there? And then how are you going to wrap it so it doesn't get damaged on the way? Like this is just a whole bunch of like learning curves that, I mean.
Also, lesson learned, artist, insure your artwork when you ship it. I just learned a very valuable lesson recently. So I had done this commission for this couple. I did 3 paintings for them. Rolled them all up in a tube and shipped them to them. 2 of the paintings needed to be touched up. Like they need to be fixed after they saw them because they didn't want to. They want to be surprised. So they saw them. So they sent back 2 of the paintings, kept 1. I fixed them, sent those 2 back, and we're tracking them. We're like, we don't see where it's at. We can't find it. eventually the client calls us and is like, "Yo, where's my
It
art?"
got lost.
Well, we called UPS and we're like, "Where is this?" So after a day of them trying to track it out, they lost it. But they eventually they did like this investigation, and I'll share another story after this. They did this investigation that it eventually got lost in their facility in Memphis. So they ask you, what did you send? What is it? And we describe it. And they're like, "Oh, it looks like we'll call you back." And they call back and they say, "Looks like we found an item that matches this description of a painting of a couple."
What the
And
heck?
this musician painting, I'm like, "You have my paintings floating around your Memphis UPS facility?"
Wow.
And we were scared that an employee had taken it because that's happened in the past.
So it was just chilling.
Somewhere fell off a cart,
Wow.
a machine, but they had to repackage it. Now, it eventually got to where it needed to go. But I was like, if they lost it, I'm on the hook for this. I'm either giving the collector their money back
You
or,
have to make another.
and I didn't get enough insurance on that one. So that's why I was worried. I was like, insurance will only cover up to X amount. I got to cover the rest in the event that happens, or I'm repainting another one. So the valuable lesson was it is worth it to just pay the extra for the insurance because you never know. Even UPS or FedEx or these shipping companies will and can lose your art or damage it, God forbid.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody's paying that much for a painting, then you kind of should for sure.
Yeah. And a lot of the when I was on tour with Andrea Bocelli, these paintings were selling for 25, 50, 70,000, and we were keeping them like on the tour trucks. And so on our days off, I would go to UPS and ship them like maybe 4 at a time. So I'm walking to UPS, with these like rolled up paintings, getting tubes from them to pack it and ship it. And so we ended up getting the insurance separate to cover these paintings. It's just at some point you're like, there's got to be a better way. So if anyone knows of a very specific art shipping company or a video you can share with us, please
that would be
DM
great,
me
man.
or Kicks. We would love to know because I'm learning the lessons as well. There's so many lessons. It's never ending.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the paintings that I've been painting and that I have shipped, it's 30 by 40, which is not a small size either, right? It's still, I guess compared to yours, it's like maybe medium compared to others. Because
Yeah.
I mean, the typical
It's a schmedium
schmedium,
painting.
yeah, 30 by 40. I still had to find boxes. I found some on Amazon, but I mean, I had to pay like $70 for 5 of them.
Okay.
Yeah, and they were like kind of like TV boxes.
Yeah.
I guess that's what they call them, TV boxes, because this is already on the canvas frame with the resin.
Yeah.
So I can't roll it up. You know what I mean? When
Yeah.
I pour resin on my stuff, it's like that's it. Like you have to find a way to really bubble wrap it, put it in between
And it's
something.
heavy.
Edges, heavy, more expensive, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, all that. So
So the TV boxes worked.
TV boxes. Work.
Yeah. I've used that once in the past, like the telescoping ones from Home Depot. Packed it, wrapped it, but yeah, it's just so crazy how many things come from beyond the art. Like it starts with the art, people want to collect your work, and then you have to figure out the selling gateway, the shipping process, the return process,
the cost of materials.
Yeah, and honestly, I kind of pulled back from doing prints for a little bit because our show's starting to get busy, but also I stepped back because I realized I can't just keep doing this without a better system in place. Like you can only get by.
Like it gets
so
like
much.
on your scale, and like sometimes, like luckily I have a Jersky, right?
Yes.
That he's got it down to a T on the shipping, and me and him handle all the shipping and stuff like that. But like it gets to the point where if it gets big enough, like you need a team to just handle shipping.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I would say drop shipping, is definitely an option.
I like drop shipping, but sometimes with certain prints, you want to be able to sign them.
This
right?
is true. This is true.
And that's going to add value and something special to it. You could add certificate of authenticity for these prints, and that just goes a long way, right?
Yeah.
But then you don't have that drop ship option with that. So there's levels to it. You already know.
Yeah, for the open editions for sure.
Yeah.
I highly recommend drop
Oh,
shipping.
absolutely. If somebody can handle that for me.
Yeah, and by the way, the company Printful does a great job with drop shipping, and even the packaging, it shows up sort of like no label, like you don't know where it came from, or they'll let you put your branding in it as well. You can pay an extra fee for that, but I'm sure there's some other companies, but Printful's been great. What I'll do is I'll order a product myself, like a pillow or a notebook or a canvas print. I mean, you name it. I'll just order samples for myself, spend the money, apparel, and then like the ones that I like, I'm like, let's do this. So then when we make our designs, we can design them on Printful, connect it with our website, and get it to people. And honestly, I feel like it's better for the collector because if you're waiting on me, it may be a week or so until it gets shipped out. But through services like that, you're going to get it quicker. And also, I've approved the quality of this as well. So if it's showing up, I've seen the quality before.
I have a question for you on
Yes.
that. And I'm sure a lot of artists would have this same question. Or I'm sure you've seen it at some point in your career. Let's say we did a piece, right? And it's a specific character, right? Like a Disney character or something. Now, do they give you issues or slack because you want to make prints of this piece that you made? You know what I mean? Like, because there's been situations where somebody will say no because of the character on the stuff, even though it's your art. You know, do they give you anything for that, or are you still able to do it? Like,
the short answer is yes, they can and they will, and you're lucky if you can figure out a way to make it more unique to you, so that you have creative laws that protect creatives.
Changing that percentage away from the
image.
image.
You make it a new piece of art. And I'll tell you this story. There was a celebrity that I painted that has since passed, and a photographer that took a very famous photo of this celebrity. The photographer has since passed, but the estate of that photographer is managed by this attorney team of people. And they go after anyone who is recreating or reusing the image that the photographer took of the celebrity. So the celebrity wasn't coming after us. It was the estate of the photographer. So I started getting emails and I'm like, what? Like, first of all, it's a performance. Like, it's the way that we did this is not, we weren't selling prints. We weren't even selling the painting.
Yeah, it's just a live painting.
They just saw a picture of it online.
So they maybe assumed that you were already like making money off of this image.
Yes, but it was made new as a performance. I'm well known for making art as a performance entertainment. It's a new process.
You do a lot of portrait work too. So.
Yes, and so let's just say 6 to 8 months of attorneys writing back and forth, and a lot of money later, they decided to not pursue it. And the irony is, during this time that was happening, there was a very famous story about this Andy Warhol piece where he had done an image of I think it was Marilyn Monroe. I have to look it up, but it was found that the estate was held liable because he had just reused an image for his art. Yep, Andy Warhol is dead. He's passed away, but his estate still owns the intellectual property. And so because of how that case went, we were worried. We were like, oh no, now they have a case to go off of. But I was sticking through it because a lot of artists get bullied by attorneys who aren't even the celebrity, they're not even the photographer. And there are artists who truly make a new piece of art inspired by something in pop culture, something that means something to them. And I knew I had to stick to this for the long haul because it could make history. And in the event that ever happens in the future again, we're going to see it through to the end so that, in some way, artists are still protected by just expressing themselves. So that is the long-winded version of saying, yes, they can and they will come after you. So just kind of beware of what you're buying into, beware of what you're doing. It always helps to have your original voice, but if you're inspired by pop culture, make it new.
Mm-hmm.
You know, make it so that you are truly inspired by it. And then here's the thing, they can still challenge you. That's the beauty of America is whether it's right or wrong, they'll still try to challenge you and say, "We think you're stealing something from us." We'll find out.
Mm-hmm.
We'll find out.
That's crazy.
Yeah, have you ever dealt with that? Any
Uh,
like random brands coming after you or anything?
it's funny because never, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, I've done a lot of it doing the sneakers, right?
Mhm.
Because these players, like something that I would something I would forget is when I'm doing these young players, like they're coming into the league, they're young,
Yeah.
they're still kids. Some of them are not even 21 yet. So when I would ask them like, what do you want on your sneakers? Oh, I want Dragon Ball Z. I
Mhm.
want this Disney character. I want this. I did it a lot, bro. Like logos, characters, and I never got slack, nothing like that. Um, one time for the Orlando Magic, because they're sponsored by Disney, I had put the Disney logo on a shoe. It was like a Mickey Mouse
Oh
thing
yeah. The
for a player,
mouse.
everything. And this was the one where people were like, "Oh man, they might hit you." But it's funny because I ended up getting an email from Disney, but it was completely opposite. They were like, "Yo, we want to do something with you." So
That's
it was like,
plot twist.
what? Hey, let's do it, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it could go one of both ways, right? I mean,
And actually, and I'll add to that. I had a super viral video on TikTok of me painting Mickey Mouse,
oh, I
and
seen it. It's like pinned on your thing, right?
yeah, it's like 98 million views on it.
Mm-hmm.
And same thing, Disney reached out to us and was like, "Hey, can we include this on this Disney Plus thing that we're putting together about like people who have Disney in their lives or whatever?" So I signed an agreement to let them
No, yeah,
use
yeah.
it. But you're right. That's the other side too. And then there's like the celebrities or musicians that will paint and they'll say, can we repost this? Like they'll get super hyped about it. To be honest, I would be hyped if
Yeah.
someone was inspired by me creating an image. I think that's cool. And even if they made a little bit of money off it, I wouldn't knock it. I think it's when an artist crosses the line when you're just reprinting the photo of the person or reprinting the brand. You're not putting any new twist on it. That's where
Like
you
you're
start.
obviously just trying to make money off of that situation or that image
Yeah.
deliberately,
But
yeah.
with no effort, with
Uh-huh.
little no effort. Put the most effort into it and then
Like put your
go
touch
from
on
there.
that, man. Like
Yes.
let them know like you really felt that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's an interesting topic. I get asked that all the time, do people ever come after you? Yes, but also no. And just know that if you do it, just know that what you're signing up for,
Mm-hmm.
you know? I like a little challenge. I'm like, is it? Is it bad? We'll find out.
Yep.
So, and here's the thing: you also have to just create what you're inspired by. And it's kind of like starting a business. If I open up a car wash down the street from here, and business is crushing, it's growing, and I'm like, I love this business. It's good for the community. And right down the street, another car wash opens up and is crushing it even more. Matter of fact, they have 5 more locations now. You're allowed to have competition. You're allowed to have other factors in this world that could affect your business. Being an artist, that's one of them. Doing something that's inspired by someone else's intellectual property. There's competition in business. There are better ways to do things that someone could harm your business. And so as an artist, you just have to keep that in mind too, that it's not about you all the time. People are trying to find better ways to create or to express themselves and just protect yourself in the process, you know.
Yep.
So, but speaking of, so I kind of referenced them earlier. We're talking about creating stuff. The last time we talked about an article that was saying, hype beast culture is softening.
Mm-hmm.
We had our hot takes on that. But you brought some friends with you,
Oh yeah, man.
and I'm curious, like tell us a story about these.
Man, so it's funny. Like I've mentioned to you, and I've showed you the Whatnot app, right?
Yes.
It's
Explain what Whatnot
it's
is.
how else would I? It's a live selling auction platform,
Mm-hmm.
but it's been amazing for me in my career,
Mm-hmm.
and I think you would crush it on there too when it comes to prints and something that you sell multiple of because um, it's huge. I mean, you're talking millions and millions of people on that app a day, right?
Yeah.
And I've been able to build a community on there. And the craziest part is, I didn't use my Instagram or anything like that to push this, and I was able to build that community to. I think I'm at like a 20-something thousand followers on
Wow.
there
On Whatnot.
on a selling
That's
platform,
incredible.
and it's all based off my art.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing custom Funkos.
Yeah.
There was a certain peak where some my Funkos were averaging between $2,000 and $4,000 for a custom Funko Pop, which is
What?
nuts, right?
That's
Like I would
incredible.
go to the store, pay like $20 for this Funko Pop, put
Wow.
my art, my spin on it, make a custom display box. They were going for that kind of money,
That's
and
amazing.
yeah, it was surreal.
Hey Ray, order some Funko Pops.
It's crazy,
Yeah.
man. So I built this community around the pop culture and the collectibles,
Yeah.
and I used that and I ran with it. And I was like, man, what if I brought my own designer toy out? Because then
Mhm.
I started getting into bear bricks and cause, and I was like collecting and just spending crazy money on these things because they just look cool,
Yeah.
super plastic, like the really cool dunnies and stuff. I mean, I'm
Mhm.
sure you've seen all that stuff. A lot of great artists get down
Yeah.
on these things. So I was like, man, what if I could make one that
Mhm.
kind of like resembles me and like what I'm about and my world, right?
Yeah.
So we created my little cartoon character
Uh-huh.
and we made it what you see here.
Yeah.
I guess my whole art universe we call it the Kicksverse,
Uh-huh.
right? I have already artists trading cards already under it
Mhm.
that are selling like crazy right now.
Yeah.
Um, I have the toy, and then I have the art, and this is something that I wanted to cross paths between sneakerheads, hype beast culture, collectibles, and like kind of the Funko Pop world. Bring everything together, you
Mhm.
know, and just like a melting pot of collectors and stuff. And when I first talked about, it, people were already going crazy.
Yeah.
Then when I brought out the character, they were like, "Yo, that's gonna be fire." But then I actually made the prototypes,
Yeah.
and these went nuts. And mind you, I've had these guys for like a year, these
Uh-huh.
prototypes. So it's been a long process,
Mhm.
but now we're at the point where it's starting to move really fast.
Okay.
Uh, NBA players, NFL players, celebrities, actors. Yo, how can I get one?
Yeah.
Or how can I invest in this?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Before anything even hits Kickstarter or any of that.
Yeah.
So we're building out the Kickstarter for it.
No pun intended.
Yep.
Or pun intended.
And yeah, man, there's gonna be a 10-inch, 6-inch, and 20-inch right
Mhm.
now, but we're even thinking about doing a 4-footer,
Okay.
which
48
is
inch.
yeah, 48-inch.
Yeah.
So I mean, these are pieces that when these people see it, like the first thing that comes to mind is like, oh, that's like a bear brick. That's like
Yeah.
those luxury pieces that you put in your house and they stand out, you know?
Yeah.
And that's exactly the direction I wanted to head with that. So when I hear that, it's like, okay, yeah, we're on the right track
Yeah.
here.
And also, I think like probably the most famous ones are the cause, pieces. Like
Mm-hmm.
you see those in, Drake's house, and
Exactly.
I feel like it's such a like I have small cause statues, and it's such like vinyl toys are like this. It's like our generation's sculpture
Mm-hmm.
art. Like we really do appreciate the creativity of and the meaning behind these objects. Who the artist is, who you are to your collectors. Like it's not just about the object. It's about what it stands for, what it means, It shows the world what community I'm part of.
Mm-hmm.
And so what are the next steps now? Like, where are you at now with this project? Because these
Man,
are prototypes.
these are prototypes, but
Uh-huh.
this is pretty much
And I've seen some
what they're.
mock-ups that look insane.
Yeah, man. So I can't say too much about
Yeah.
who we're working with,
Yeah.
but like we're right there, right?
Yeah.
And it's like a really big moves that we're making behind the scenes just to
Mhm.
put us all together to make like this super fire pitch deck.
Yeah.
We're about to be done with the pitch deck that we're gonna be shooting out to these people.
Yeah.
But man, I'm so excited, bro.
That's awesome.
It's
Have you ever done a Kickstarter before?
I never have, but
Okay.
I've followed quite a few.
Okay.
I've seen some of the craziest shit, and they hit $1 million,
Yeah.
bro. So it's like, I guess you just got to have something that people like and that they believe in,
Yeah. Well, Kickstarters are great when you're creating a product that's part of a community.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a solution to a problem for the community, or it's something that that community collects. And again, I've seen some really successful ones for trading cards,
Mm-hmm.
and also there was a time where playing cards, like custom playing cards,
Really?
was like a huge thing because people were like approaching me to do a series, and I was like, look, I don't know enough about it. It's like someone asking me to invest in a restaurant. Like, I don't know what questions to
Like
ask.
just like a playing card, but with your art on the back or something
Yeah,
like that?
like a playing card, like the ace and jack
Yeah.
and queen, all that. So, anyways, there's some really incredible Kickstarters, but that's exciting. I think
mean,
every artist has dreamt about this. Like,
yeah.
I've had dreams about a vinyl toy, but I love to see like you're just taking action, you're doing it, you've got people supporting you.
I think for me, like you said, like you're looking for a solution, right? So me as a collector myself, not
Mhm.
just the guy making the collectible. I love Bear Bricks, I love Cause, but I feel like those have been like the main things
Mm-hmm.
for so long, and people are looking for something new. Right?
Yeah.
Like you're always looking for something. Like what's the next generation's thing,
Yeah.
right? And like I said the other day, it's like manifestation, right? Like this is gonna be the next big thing, bro.
Yeah.
And when you look at it, like I want people like if you had a 4-foot one just standing here, like somewhere in your studio,
Yeah,
and when
absolutely.
people walk in, they're like, "Oh man, that's cool." That like it's like the first thing in your head is like that's luxury, like that's
Yeah.
And then if you seen one that you painted,
Mm-hmm.
it just would look fire. Like
Yeah.
like make some white ones that artists can do their thing on. Make some exclusive limited edition ones for cons. Sky's the limit, bro. I
Yeah.
mean, the way I
Or
see
one-offs that you auction off, on Whatnot or Network.
that's definitely the route that we're going as well for me to build more hype
Mhm.
around this product is the first round of 20 inches.
Mhm.
I'm going to be painting live and auction them off.
Okay.
So it's going to be really big.
That's dope.
Right?
Yeah.
But like where I want to see this,
Mhm.
like my vision, like if you ask me like where do you want to see this? Like what is something that you like a dream, right?
Yeah.
It's like doing a collab with Takashi
Yeah.
Murakami and like seeing something on there of that,
Yeah. Yeah.
like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because like his art is crazy, right? Like colorful, and I told you like color, bro. That's my
Mhm.
thing. Like pop culture, like
Yeah.
pop art type stuff. Like that's the kind of stuff I see.
Well, what's interesting too is when you have a product that becomes like a template to collab with brands. So, for example, like Supreme has done an incredible job with this. Like their template is like their logo, it's the red and white, and whatever product that it's on. If it's a Louis Vuitton collab, they can just their design goes
Bro,
around
they
it.
just put the little logo on a T-shirt. That thing is already up
Yeah.
there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
But also, in the future too, you could also have licensing agreements with different brands, or
Slap it on there
the
somehow. Make
Bob
it look
Marley
really
estate,
fire.
or like
Yep.
the Andy Warhol estate, or something like that, and to also like create collaborations that way as well.
Mhm.
Once you get big, but there's just so many ways to do it. But that either way, man, you're doing it, and so you'll have to let me know, when.
So I mean, it's like anything,
it's
right? Like
dropping.
artists are inspired by other art and other
Uh-huh.
things. So like the inspiration, part of the inspiration is of course like Bear Bricks and like what they've
Yes.
been able to build. So it's like they have all this licensing and they have all these awesome collaborations.
Yeah.
And I wanted to make something that we can kind of like play with that model.
Do you know the history of Bear Bricks at all?
I
Like where they
I know
started?
it roughly. They started with the little tiny ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you share whatever you know about
It's
them?
crazy from what I read. I mean, I got to read up more, but I know they started with like the really small ones, like the keychains and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and it just kind of like evolved from that. And the crazy thing is, like now with me getting more on hands and like talking about the builds and like what kind of like there's a lot that goes into this, right?
Yes.
It's not just okay, what's the sculpt, what's the size. Packaging is gonna be huge. Like you already know, talking to me, it's gonna be like a shoebox. Like this is gonna be a fire luxury like shoebox kind of product. And then on top of that, it's what material you're gonna use, right? And when you touch a bear brick or when you lift a bear brick, they're super light.
Okay.
So it's not like extremely expensive material.
Yeah.
But even with that, they were able to build that to where it is. You know what I mean? So it's kind of crazy. Like, and I've noticed that a lot of these companies also blow up like cause through Japan and stuff like that. So that's like a big one on my list. Like,
Yeah.
I got to get this in Japan somehow.
Yeah.
And
Have
we
you
we
been?
have connections.
Okay,
No,
good.
I've never.
Yeah.
I've never
I'm
even
sure
been
you
out
know
the
people.
country, bro.
But I'm sure you know people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the beauty of it is my partner.
You should
in this whole
launch it.
thing.
You should. I'm just gonna throw something out there. We can talk about this more later, but do the Kickstarter, but also do your like a launch event in Tokyo.
That would be nuts.
Like I'm just gonna think out loud. Like even if it was you have a friend that has a store out there, a collectible store. Even if it's like outside, like on the sidewalk, in front of their store, like you're still in Tokyo. Like whatever it costs to like just fly there for a few days.
Just do this dope launch.
And you have one day of prep, one day of the event, another day to just chill, come back home. So it's not too costly, but like make a scene.
Yep.
Because that is a place. Like what I love about somewhere like Tokyo or just even Japan, they're so much more free to explore.
The art is crazy out there.
Yeah,
Period.
but just creativity. It's like I was walking around covered in paint. No one cares. Yesterday, I was just walking down the street in San Francisco.
Everybody's like,
"Oh, what's going on? What are you doing?"
"You right, buddy?"
and it's like, I don't look at that as like they're more accepting. It's just they're more jarred by it. Where in Tokyo, they're like, "Oh, you're one of us. You express yourself also," rather than here, what is this alien expressing themselves unlike anyone else? Why are you not fitting in? What's odd about you? So that's what I love about Tokyo is they embrace expression and creativity. I mean, the weirder the better. It's a great place to make a scene.
Yeah, and it's crazy because like I have seen like Kaw's story and stuff, and that's like inspiring in itself too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, I definitely know that Japan is like a very key market to hit if you're trying to expand in this kind of world.
And quick story is the cause pieces, the ones that are like 48 inches, those originally sold for maybe like $5,000, $6,000, and now they're auctioning off for hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like you can't get one for under 150,000. It's the same one that was sold for 5,000, which to some people still seems like a lot, but it's
Where
just
it's at now.
it's the value, and also it becomes the value of who you are, who Kix is. Like what is Kix doing as a person and a brand? And I'm always encouraging artists, like they're always like, how do I raise the prices of my art? Like you have to raise the value of who you are. That is such an important part of raising the prices, your visibility, and also how people perceive and will accept what they're investing into is who you are. And so that just kind of happens, naturally over time. But if you ever, people, artists.
That's what I've learned, is especially through the app, through the Whatnot app, is like you're connecting with these people.
Yeah.
And if they are a fan of you and your story, they're gonna support you on anything you drop. Doesn't matter. Right?
Yeah.
And I've been able to bring people from collecting Funkos to collecting my art on trading cards, my prints, my canvas prints, merch, like things that they weren't even like dabbling in.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're like, oh, I'm down with it,
Yeah.
right? So that's all it is. It's like you as a brand, like if you have that support, even if it's from a small group, like that will build, like
Yeah. Can you share about Whatnot and Network? Because you introduced me to that world. It's sort of like and I don't mean this in a bad way. It's kind of like a Gen Z QVC. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's
Oh,
like
it is.
a live shopping for a younger generation. But could you share what those are? What and maybe how an artist can utilize those on their journey?
I'll use one of these guys as an example.
Yes.
Because I've sold a couple prototypes on there.
Okay.
Mind you, these prototypes are expensive, right? Because this is
Mhm.
not regular material. You hold it, it's pretty
Yeah,
heavy.
there's only so many.
Yeah.
They're not mass produced yet.
So, just saying, let's say I was live, I have my people watching, and this is open to everybody. So people could be scrolling and just come across your shop.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, like anything, like on social media, you have, I guess, 5 seconds to capture that person's attention before they decide to go to the next store,
Mhm.
next channel. So, I mean, first things first is like, this is your shop. This is what, this is who you are. Like, I'm really good in front of the camera. I know how to, like, carry myself, and like, it's all about throwing a show. It's not just you're trying to sell something. This is a performance, like
Mm-hmm.
like it's a show. You're in front of who knows how many people are watching you live,
Yeah.
and you're just selling yourself and your product. So I'm having my show. I got my fans in there. New people are coming in all the time. They could follow you or they could leave.
Mm-hmm.
But the cool thing about this app is I could have this prototype in there, and I could start the auction at whatever I want, whether it's $1, 200.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are scared not to get what they're, and they'll start it high, and if it doesn't sell, it doesn't sell.
Yeah.
I've been very confident enough to this point where I start a lot of my stuff at $1.
Yeah.
And
I want to try that.
it's a risk for people sometimes.
I want to try it.
But man, it's crazy, dude. Like my prototypes, I started at $1,
Mm-hmm.
and some of them sold for $2,500 for just like a regular
Wow.
prototype.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and it starts at $1, and then it's crazy because you see like people bidding.
Yeah.
And then as it gets down to the last 10 seconds, if somebody bids, it adds an extra 10 seconds to give somebody else a chance to.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a real auction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then they also have a sudden death option.
Okay.
Whereas you set the time of your auction as well. It could be up to 5 minutes or it could be 10 seconds. It's really all up to you, right? So if I said, 20 seconds sudden death starts at $1.
Yeah.
And you run it, people are just smashing that button, not even knowing where it's going. Like they're just like, I want this, boom, boom, boom. And there is no extra 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Once it runs out, that's it. Whoever bid last takes the item.
Yeah.
Right? So yeah, there's different ways to play with this, but it's very fun. And a lot of people that can't even afford some of these things are just there for the show.
Yeah.
They're there to see these people spending this money. You know what I mean?
Or maybe they come up on something that they can't afford. You
Yeah.
know, like starts at $1, maybe they get it for $100.
I've had certain items go for less than I would have thought, and then I've had other items go for crazy amounts that I didn't even expect was gonna do.
And I'm assuming that's part of the experience on there
Mhm.
is you never know. And that honestly is really auctions. You never know where it's going to end
Well,
up.
the beauty of starting it at $1 as well is because people know that my stuff is high ticket items, right?
Yes.
Whether it's my original art that I did, because I'll do sometimes I'll stream where I'm drawing live and then I'll auction it off,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a really quick, easy way to make money.
Yeah.
It's fun. You interact
Artists,
with them.
listen to this. This
Yeah,
is
man,
like game for you right now.
Yeah, this is crazy. There's so many artists on there that are not even huge names that are making pretty good money on
Mhm.
there because they're just consistent with it. They're building this little community of fans on there. And even if you sketch on a card and it goes for $30, like that's $30 you didn't have.
So let me ask you this, because some artists are like, okay, this sounds amazing, but I'm super shy and I'm introverted. What did you do to overcome getting more comfortable on camera and learning that this is a show and sort of just growing into the Kicks that we know today?
Well, I think a lot of it stems from before I started doing art, like as a career path or anything like that. Was like, I mean, I was in sales before that for me, right? I was in sales for years, so I was forced to kind of do that anyway. So I was able to bring that skill set into this. But then it's also okay. You could be good at sales, but like, how about in front of a camera,
Yeah,
right?
it's very different.
So when I had that really fast rise, like I told you, it happened really fast. I got hit up by Complex and Yahoo, and they were like, "Yo, we want to do a show about you, 20 episodes. We'll go to different mansions here in California, like in SoCal, with different athletes, and you do a whole episode where you go to their crib and you say what's up, and then they invite you in, and then we take them out to talk to them about other stuff, their life outside of sports, while you're painting live at their crib, and then they come back the same day, and I have it done, and I present them their shoe.
That's dope.
But I had never done anything like this before, like, and I had never really had to do anything like that in front of cameras. So it was a risk that, well, I don't want to say risk, but it was I don't know. I didn't know if I was ready or not, but I said, let's do it. like I wasn't scared.
So you just threw yourself in.
Yeah, I was like, this is the only thing that, like, these are the only type of things that are going to help me, like, take my brand to the next level.
Yeah.
And if I don't do this, I'm going to regret it later.
Yeah.
And if I can't do it, if I have anxiety or something, then at least I know I tried this.
Yeah.
But I ran with it, bro. And I'm not going to say I was great at it at first, but now it's just like second nature. Like, like we just, okay, put the headset on, get the mic going, let's go.
Yeah, I would agree. You got to throw yourself into it and just be open to it. Feel weird, see what that feels like, and try it again.
Well, the beauty of the app for artists that are watching, you don't have to show your face on the app.
Okay. Oh, that's right.
You don't.
You can just have an overhead camera.
You put that overhead camera.
Yeah.
You got your cards, or you got your sketch paper, you got your canvas board, or whatever it is, and you just go to town. You could talk to them. You could see the comments coming through. You don't have to show your face.
Yeah.
And just have fun with it, man. And,
that's dope.
And you build confidence that way too, right? Like, it's all about building confidence.
Yeah. I love it.
Artists, I think are a lot of artists. They kind of they just stop themselves from reaching like their peak because they're not confident, or they're scared of being in the public eye, And that's another thing. I had a lot of, when I was blowing up in shoes, they were like, "How do you do it? Like, how did you grow up? How did you blow up so fast?" I had haters like, "You don't deserve this." Like, what? I'm like, dude, I'm throwing myself out there every day, bro. Like I grind my ass off to get here. Like, and I'm not scared to be out there. I'm not scared to go to these competitions or paint live at this event in front of people. Like people are gonna judge you regardless, right? So I just went at it, dude. That's it.
I mean, that's the lesson here, artists. You really have to throw yourself in. You have to feel that, what it feels like to be uncomfortable, and then just give yourself the opportunity of reps to learn over time. So, man, always fun. I know we had some other topics we're gonna go over. We'll just got to do it on the next pod.
Yeah, man.
So,
I'll be back.
Yes, I forgot to mention earlier. Those of you who are watching on YouTube, if you're enjoying this content, definitely hit the like button. Consider subscribing, but most importantly, comment down below and let us know topics that you want to know that we can cover from the artist perspective here on the Paint Method podcast. And if you're listening to this on any audio platform, be sure to just hit the follow button so that you get updated anytime we post new and upcoming episodes. So my name is David Garibaldi, here with
Kickstarters.
Follow him at Kickstarters on all platforms.
Yes, sir.
Thanks again, man, for hanging out.
Of course.
All right.
Time to paint.
Peace. Yeah, let's paint.